What's the difference between a coach that is struggling to make ends meet and a coach that earns $10,000 a month? This is the same question that, like you, I asked myself when I started my coaching practice. Like most new coaches, I struggled. I struggled to find new leads. I struggled to convert these leads into customers and clients. I struggled to figure out how do I put myself into a pricing structure that makes perfect sense for me to be able to generate at least $10,000 a month. So I committed to about 10 different courses that I would take over 30 days. I was doing a learning binge. I was immersing myself into different programs taught by different people so I could learn from as many diverse experiences and then go, what is it that really works for me? And as I was wrapping these 10 programs, I recognized that there were certain patterns, there were certain principles, there were certain ideologies that were true to all of the programs. And that seemed like that was the underlying principles that will help somebody make $10,000 every single month. But before I really knew those principles to be true, I had to test them out. The first month was kind of all right. I didn't really nail it perfectly. But by month 3, I realized that I was making an average of $3,000 a month. And then I tested those principles further and I kept testing them. And in 3 months, I found myself at an average of $7,000 a month. That's the amount of contracts I had signed. And soon enough, in about month 9 or 10, I found myself to be at an average of $10,000 a month. So it took about 10 months to really get to the average of $10,000 a month, but these were the 5 principles that really drove all of that revenue. Now, these same principles eventually helped me make a lot more than $10,000 a month, but I want to share these principles with you so you can also go ahead and try these principles in your coaching practice and in a few months, hopefully see the same rise that I was able to see in my income. The first principle is the smaller your niche, the bigger your market. Most people think, oh, this is too small a niche. I cannot operate in this niche. There's too few clients in this niche. I cannot operate in this niche. I'm here to tell you one of the biggest secrets that I've learned over time that has helped me make $10,000 and even a lot more money is that the more you go really deep into a niche or a category of individuals, the larger is the market that is available to you to actually enroll. What you need is a smaller market that you can really address, that you can speak their language, that you can speak to them where they feel heard, where they feel acknowledged, they feel recognized. The smaller that market is, the easier would be your language. The smaller that market is, the more connected you will be with individuals within the marketplace. And that will allow you to really lean into being an authority in that space, being somebody who people look up to in that place, people who seek counsel from in that place, people who seek coaches from in that marketplace. So the smaller your niche, all of the market is available to you, and hence it becomes a really big market. Versus the bigger your niche, smaller the market, because everybody and then some are in that market. You just become like everybody else. The second big principle is only sell packages. One of the classic mistakes most coaches make is they sell their coaching by the hour. This usually happens if you are a coach on a platform. They'll tend to say, hey, you can book me for an hour, my fee will be X $100. And while that may seem like a good way to get started, that is not really a good way if you want to generate a decent income in your coaching career. Transformations don't really happen overnight. It takes time, effort, energy, and repeated conversations for somebody to experience their breakthrough. The first coaching session might not do it, the second might not do it, the 10th might. And so when you're engaging with a client, you want to always engage where you have the greatest opportunity of creating a change in your client's life, so you're not limited and bound to the anxiety of creating results in the first session so your client re-enrolls with you. Instead, you want to be able to engage with them on a longer term so you can truly be a part of the change that they want to have in their lives. The third principle is see every no as a step towards yes. Most of us, when we get a rejection, when we get no, we think it's the end of the world. It happens when you make an offer to a client and they say, no, not yet, or no, I don't think I'm interested in this. We feel like it's a personal rejection. We feel that people have said no to us, that our value or our services value is not big enough is why we got to know. But no truly is just a journey to get to a yes. Because I wasn't scared if the client was going to say no or yes to our conversation, which allowed me to create great results for them and also be able to very easily, non-desperately make an offer that created so much ease between our relationships that I started to get a lot more yeses. The fourth principle is different is better than better. When you make an offer that's a little bit better as a service, people just put it in the same bucket and are willing to pay marginally better. But when you offer a different service, you actually address a different category of individual. That simply means that if your packages, if your services, if your brand does not look like anything else, you are more likely to garner attention, you're more likely to have a conversation, you're more likely to secure a client versus everybody that looks like everybody else or slightly better than everybody else. Different is better than better because it gets attention. And if you can get attention from your clients, you have a greater possibility to start a conversation, get a yes or a no, and move further in your coaching career. What you really want to do is go within and find what is true for you and only connect with your audience with what's true for you. Because when you do that, people can feel it. People can see your vulnerability. They can experience your vulnerability. They can experience your truth. They can experience your honesty. And they are much more likely to enroll when they experience all of that. And the last principle was charge for results. When we start coaching, when we are new in our careers, we tend to charge based on the amount of time we'll be spending with a client. You might say, my fee is $100 an hour, and so if you spend 6 hours together, my fee becomes $600. And that tends to be when you start a coaching business. But what if we change the narrative? Instead of charging money for time, you start to charging money for results. You see, when somebody gets a result from a coaching conversation, a coaching transaction, the result is many-fold in context of the life that they're currently at. If you're a business coach, your coaching may add hundreds of thousands of dollars to a client's life. If you're a life coach, it may completely save their relationship. If you're a health coach, you may transform their life like they have never experienced before. Now, when you charge for something that is that extraordinary versus for your time with them, there are two things that happen. Firstly, what you get to charge is a lot more. And secondly, what the client gets to experience is a lot more. They're not seeing I spent an hour with my coach. They relate their results to their coach. And when they relate their results to their coach, they want to keep getting those results. This keeps your client really interested in having those coaching conversations they're having with you because they're continuing to see those results. But you won't ever get to charge what you're worth if you don't even believe in your value. There are 5 powerful techniques that you can use to coach yourself to boost your confidence, and we reveal that in this video. See you there.